Among the biggest issues facing Australians in 2024 is the cost of living crisis. And as families try to figure out ways to stretch the household budget, new stats show that for millions of Aussies, one job just isn't cutting it.
You're up at 7 a.m. to get ready for your 8-hour job, which wraps at 5, giving you just enough time to change clothes and get across town for your evening shift, slogging it out until midnight. For almost 1 million Aussies, that's a reality. For 6.7 million, it's aspirational. A new survey from Finder reveals a whopping 32% of Aussies are feeling so much financial pressure they need to work a second job.
Yes, there are several factors driving this high number of people looking for a second job, and they are all connected to the cost of living. The biggest one is the RBA cash rate increases. On top of that, inflation has pushed up grocery prices dramatically over the last year and a half, as well as energy and fuel. So all these are combining to make it very expensive to live in Australia right now.
Younger Aussies are feeling the pinch, with 40% of millennials reporting they're on the hunt for a second gig, and more than half of Gen Z say the same. But there's one demographic doing it toughest. The gender gap here is cavernous, with nearly twice the number of women feeling the need to find a second job compared to men.
Women are doing it tougher because of the gender pay gap initially, but also the gender pay gap over a long period of time means women build up less savings than men. And a savings buffer is what makes the biggest difference in terms of how cost of living pressures affect you.
So do these numbers represent an abnormal spike, or are 2 jobs the new normal?
We don't need to overthink it. I mean, cost of living, interest rate rises, cost of rent in the major capital cities in particular, all of those things together. You know, 10 years ago, maybe one income was covering that, but now it's clearly not, and so you've got to go and get another job. It's not complicated, really, is it?
No, but what would be interesting to know, because we don't really have more detailed stats, is who exactly we're talking. Because there would be people who would be getting a second job because that's how they can eat. And then there'd be people who are getting a second job because they want to maintain a certain lifestyle, and maybe even
keep
other
the
things.
kids in private schools,
whatever.
or keep their private health insurance or something like that.
Yeah, and it's tricky because the whole thing about the inflation is it's trying to reduce our spending. But it's like there'll be people who are fighting.
So those people with 2 jobs, do they get counted twice in the unemployment stats? Because I was surprised the other day when the unemployment rate was still so low.
No,
they don't?
No, because the stats aren't employment stats; they're unemployment stats. They're very much not unemployed. They're double employed, right?
But they do release each month the number of new jobs created.
Yes. So what you might find is the number of jobs get created, but that doesn't correlate to the number of new people getting into work.
I feel for anyone who's got to work 2 jobs. It's tough.
Really hard.